So whatever you say now is on record forever.
So we're on record.
Recorded.
Typically
We can actually
speaking,
cut
this
this
is
off if we want. We usually don't.
yeah, no, we never do pretty much. But this is typically when Reese says something awful, just so you guys know. So
Light the mood.
yeah, lighten the mood, you know. Oh God, God really knows what I end up talking about on the reg. Everybody ready? We comfortable?
Yes.
Oh, you
Good.
didn't check my
Christian?
mic, man.
Yeah, I checked it. We're good. Oh, we're not recording yet over here, but we good?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Oh, you guys will know when to talk. I'll introduce you.
Whenever you want to.
Okay.
Welcome to the Business Legends podcast, where we interview business leaders and entrepreneurs so that you can learn from their mistakes, pump up your own inspiration, and grow your bottom line. I'm the host of the show, Reese Arlen, and happy Halloween, everybody! Along with my co-host, of course, Christian Webb, CEO of Business Marketing Solutions Group. Say what's up!
Hey guys, how's it going?
You know, I'm the only one in costume today. I'm kind of bummed out about that, by the way. Today we are
I'm totally a golfer. What are you talking about?
you look normal.
I'm plaid pants.
You normally wear golf clothing, I guess. So
You guys are professional.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You guys got the pro situation going on. So today we have Mr. Jeff Redwine and his business partner Christian Lofton from REDGroup. They are a solar company. Let me introduce these guys. So Jeff says, growing with my family while working with people I admire is a blessing. Our team's passionate about the service and quality of systems we install, and it makes it even more rewarding to work with high-caliber individuals who are knowledgeable and reliable. Having over 10 years of solar experience with my partner, Christian Lofton, we've learned what needs to be done to exceed our clients' expectations. Our goals are to make solar affordable and promote distributed generation in an efficient and sustainable manner. Well, good morning, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. How are we doing this morning? Yeah.
Good morning. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. You know, before this show, we all agreed to wear costume, and I mean, you guys dropped the ball on this one. Like, what? You know, we could have come up. I thought we were doing Viking
Two people
costumes.
dressed as solar panel install people.
Solar panel
That's-
install
yeah,
people. There you go.
This is actually dressed up. I mean, I have buttons on my shirt. I don't know
Oh,
if you
okay.
noticed that.
I
There's
got
a
you.
collar.
Yeah.
There's a collar. and
Just for
it's-
the occasion.
Yeah, there's actually sleeves, and I don't think this one has holes in it. So
Yeah, okay.
this is pretty dressed up.
Pretty
actually.
good for you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Okay,
so-
all right. We'll let you slide with this one. So, 10 years in the solar field, the solar industry, in the construction sector. I mean, that would have been just after 2008. I'm sure you guys have some crazy stories to tell about just all the different types of things that you've seen. What differences have been made in 2008 in your field specifically?
Oh man, the industry's come a really long way. Costs coming down and safety going up.
Okay.
A lot. Just as an example, so in 2008, when a solar system was installed, you essentially had a system that was wired up in high voltage DC on your roof.
Okay.
So just as an idea, an example, if a squirrel nibbled through the wire on your roof back then, you could have an arc fault that could go as far as about 6 inches and potentially burn stuff down.
Wow.
So
Including the squirrel.
squirrel's toast
Yeah.
by that point.
Yeah.
Now the technology is so advanced that if anything at all happens to any point of the system on the roof or anywhere, everything shuts down at the module level.
Huh.
So you don't really have any voltage that's any more than like a car battery or something on the roof.
Oh, wow.
So like extremely low potential for
Yeah.
problems.
That's amazing. You know, it's kind of the cutting edge of particularly electrical and renewable and sustainable energy for people's homes and whatnot. It is such an incredible field, and I feel like you guys are getting into it or have gotten into it at the right time, I should say. So with all that said, one of the topics that I'd like to cover today with you guys is you guys take pride in being able to be reached out by your customers. Your customers get your cell phone numbers, despite the salespeople they work with, despite the console and whatnot. I mean, what's it like to be running a business and also being available for your customers like that on any given occasion?
I think it's a great feeling. I mean, to be able to open up our book of business and say, call anybody you want to call, and ask how we did. I mean, it's construction. There have been issues, but I mean, us being able to stand by our word and say, we stood by and done what we're supposed to do, is a great feeling. I mean, obviously, I think in this generation of instant communication. You know, a text on a Sunday afternoon can be a little frustrating sometimes when you're hanging out with the family and
And
the kids.
supposed to be
so
watching
it's
the
like-
Panthers win. Supposed to be watching the Panthers win.
yeah, and so, in whatever time, or, getting an email at midnight and then folks calling you at 6 a.m. Did you get my email? And yeah, absolutely. But, so there is that balance of, I think, a respect that we have in this day and age of wanting a response back. But it is a great feeling for us to be able to know that, they can call us if there's an issue, if there's a concern. They're not going to be on hold waiting for somebody to hopefully call them back or go through that process. So really maintaining the small business feel and the local feel is what we strive for.
Mhm. High levels of customer service too. I mean, we've all been there, getting that email at Sunday at 11 p.m. where you have to have something due by 7 a.m. on Monday or whatever. So it can create its own set of issues for sure. So tell me a little bit about you guys' background. So you guys are both in the Peace Corps, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were in at the same time, but in different locations. So you guys didn't even know each other back then. Is there anything that came from that period of your lives that helped you with business today?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my goodness, man. So the sort of running theme that we had in Peace Corps is it's the toughest job you'll ever love.
Okay.
To overcome adversity in the Peace Corps, I think is probably like step one. Just the having patience with systems and people and weather, whatever it was. It's just, I don't know, you come out of it with such a huge tool bag for life that, no matter what you do, it was huge. And so going into business with that experience was, for me, just phenomenal.
I totally agree, and I guess to add on to that and throw another cliche, analogy or expression that we used was, some see the, optimist, sees the glass half full, pessimist is half empty, and a Peace Corps volunteer says, I can take a bath with that. And so it's just being sustainable and working with what you have, and I think keeping a positive attitude. But one of the main things that I got from that experience was learning the importance of surrounding yourself with high caliber people.
Yeah. And
the relationships, the friendships, from business and personal level that I came out of that experience with have helped me, I don't know, tenfold. Just to be able to have that resource of people to call on or experiences to learn from, and in my case, luckily to work on a daily basis with Christian and be able to do that. So it's I think one of the things that you're able to look at is as far as that, and seeing how you can surround yourself with people, whether you're in the Peace Corps, whether you're in college, whether you're in the business world already, but just surrounding yourself with people that you admire, that you respect, and are doing things that you obviously approve of and you want to be like.
Yeah, that's such an incredible story. I mean, everybody has different upbringings, of course. Some grow up rich, some grow up poor, some grow up in Charlotte, some grow up in Detroit. And to have different people in your life and learn how to work with these folks, learn different skill sets, learning how to work with different personalities. We've only known you guys for a very brief period of time, and I can already tell that between you, Jeff, and Christian, you guys have way different personalities, so you guys just kind of mesh together very well. So the Peace Corps was 15 years ago, plus or minus, around that, something like that?
Oh, I don't like to think
that
about
sounds
it.
rough.
So 15,
No, it was last summer, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay, yeah, last summer.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. So you go from the Peace Corps, and then I'm sure you guys had a hodgepodge of different other jobs and whatnot. What was the deciding factor of getting into the solar industry? I mean, how did that all come about?
We're becoming an entrepreneur at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had no thought about going into anything except for renewables. Probably about halfway through my Peace Corps experience, we were starting to do like a biofuels projects and just more stuff, and just like awakening to the fact that there's so many resources out there that we're not taking advantage of. Just sort of made that my life path after that. So everything since then's been renewable energy, solar, and those sort of things. And I don't think I would have tried to go into business by myself in this, except for having the experience of working with a startup in this field, and then sort of learning from the mistakes and the things that happened there, and meeting Jeff and just sort of seeing the things that we could do together in the field.
And you guys got kind of lucky, right? I mean, you guys met in a different career path, and then it was just gangbusters from there, or so you guys met at a previous job, is that correct?
It was in the solar field, and,
Yeah.
and so very similar roles to what we're doing today, except
Sure.
we're different titles, and it's our company.
Yeah.
But I've had entrepreneuritis since my
I see.
my I guess late teens.
Yeah.
I started a business with my father that I ended up working through college. I was a junior college connoisseur for many years.
Yeah.
What they say, a lot of people go to school for 10 years. Yeah, they're called doctors.
Yeah.
But no, I had a patent and a small business.
Wow.
I actually had an online business in the mid 90s.
Wow.
And so.
Was it Amazon or?
No, yeah. It was a little company called AOL. Maybe you know.
Oh, okay, I got you.
No, it
Different
was
Jeff, different Jeff.
Exactly. No, it was a shotgun cleaner actually that we had a
Interesting.
patent on, and so I shot sporting clays and skied competitively, traveled around, peddled my wares. It was the best business class that I took in college. Really, is what it was.
Yeah.
And so, having done that, and then getting into business with my brother in construction, having a degree in marketing, and then kind of combining all of that with my Peace Corps experience, coming back to Texas, was feeling like, okay, I need to be in this industry. And then once I got a taste of the industry and then how things work, that was really, I guess, the fuel for starting something in this industry that we could call.
Yeah. Was there anything specifically for both of you? You guys are both in the solar field, in the renewable energy, I should say. You've been in the Peace Corps, and whatever experience led to the point where you kind of took the dive, took the jump, and you said, okay, we're going to do our own thing now. Was there anything specifically that kind of forced you to take that jump?
Well, I know when you guys moved out here for Cynthia's MBA that we had kind of started talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you meet certain people in your life that you're like, man, whatever's going on with these people, I want to be around it or want to be a part of it. And I always felt that way about this guy.
Yeah.
And so,
Bromance.
yeah. So I was like, man,
I love you too, man.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't care what we're doing, man. Let's just do it together.
Yeah.
Lawn service or taco truck or
Taco
whatever,
truck.
whatever the dream is. Let's do it together.
Yeah. Jeff, will you tell that story real fast, by the way?
We ate all the tacos, so we didn't have any to sell, so that was
Okay.
the problem. And so it was, there was a big problem with the business plan from the get-go.
Yeah.
But and I agree. I think that's a huge part of it. My wife was a major factor in us, founding the company and getting started with that. She was getting her MBA at Wake Forest, so her skill set would just blended very well with all three of us being business partners and getting REDGroup off the ground and going. Just was a great team, and so I think I kind of relate back to surrounding yourself with those people that a great team. To go with sports analogy, I played basketball for 13 years, and
Of course you did. You're like 10 feet tall, so you know what I mean.
it's so there's those teams that or pickup games or whatever that just mesh, and from a start, and it's just like you can. And I think the trust factor of not, I can never be a micromanager. I have enough issues managing myself, much less, micromanaging somebody else. And so, but having the trust between, in the partnership to know that, we're going to get it done. And, it might be different than I would have done it. It might be, but it's going to get done. And it's, I think having that respect and that trust is huge. I hear about nightmare stories of partnerships and people talking about issues, and I just I have so much to pull my hair out about, and I'm so thankful that I've not had that dynamic in my life. I'm very grateful for that.
So I want to step back one step here. So where y'all said that how you got into business is you worked for another company for years, and kind of learned that piece. So would y'all agree that there's really only 5 to 10 ways to become an entrepreneur, really, when you think about it? And that's one of them, right? Some people will go work in another company for many years and do a very honest job for that company, and then take that knowledge, take the know-how, and then create your own business out of that. And those companies are very aware that's going to happen as well, right? That's just kind of common sense. We have a whole bunch of good people who are really organized. Say, They know everything. So tell us how that process went for you. So you worked inside of a company, you learned, and then you became, right? Unlike me, I literally started this business not knowing anything, and then just learned as I went, right? And I was like studying and doing all this education and seminars and continuing education. I got Ty Lopez certified, this certified, and it was like, okay, I'm good. And this kept going. How was that for y'all?
I'm a extremely conservative, like, middle of the road, safe kind of guy as far as that stuff goes. So for me, it was really the ideal situation is to get in and essentially let somebody else pay and cover my training and just do a good job for them.
Yeah.
So that worked really well for me to build up the licenses and stuff like that to benefit the company, but to also benefit myself with something better will happen in the future. So that's kind of how I approached it.
I had to pay off a lot of gambling debts, and I couldn't get a job anywhere, so I just had to go into business for myself. So that's a little dry humor there, but no, I think very similar. Having that comfort level, having worked with my dad, and I can remember, I don't know if he coined the phrase or if he took it from someone else, but I remember him telling me poverty is the mother of invention. And when he was in the oil business in the mid '80s and had lost his job and came out with started a small business and went the business for himself. And so I think, like you said, there's 5 to 10 ways of what to do that. I think you can be forced to, and I think that there's ideal where you could have the resources and just the experience to jump into it and make it happen. But I think having that understanding and again having the right team in the right time, and then the courage to make the leap is always a big part of it, because it's always that wild feeling when that direct deposit quits showing up. Because it's like, okay, this is real. We're doing this, and so quitting a job where you're working with somebody else and you've got to make the checks.
I thought my wife was gonna have an aneurysm. She was just my girlfriend back then too. She was so supportive though. Like I talk about this on a lot of podcasts because this always comes up. But like I was actually VP of Sales and Marketing for a drone company, so I was not doing terrible. And then all of a sudden I went to zero, and I had no revenue whatsoever. And she's like, "What? You quit your job?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Yep.
it'll be all right. Don't worry about it." And she's really supportive.
Having known you for a long time, however, I mean, you always had that. You always had that bug where you could have been making $1 billion a year for that drone company, and if it wasn't yours, you weren't going to be happy with it. So I think there's some type of personality characteristic where that it's hard to explain for people that don't have it, I think, and I think all entrepreneurs share it, where I would rather work 100 hours a week so that I don't have to work 40 hours for anybody else. I would rather create my own thing than work for somebody else. I would rather make less money and be able to know that I've created something, and have my own thing. And just so you guys know, his wife was very supportive, and my husky said that it was cool with her as long as I kept the meat sticks.
As long as the treats keep coming.
As long as the treats keep coming, exactly.
Treats, I'm leaving you up.
Yeah, she'd leave me instantly. So, so tell me a little bit about partnership. With having worked with him for 10 years, how do you guys divide and conquer your responsibilities and kind of like a day-to-day workflow of how do you guys divide and conquer kind of the workload and not necessarily that somebody takes the lion's share, but like what responsibilities do you guys give each other?
Well, I think so. From the beginning, we've tried to keep a focus on priorities in life.
Mm-hmm.
So priorities in life for both of us are our families and children, and then everything falls in after that. Jeff and I both sort of had positions at our previous company where he was doing more marketing and sales side, and I was doing more engineering, project management side. So that we basically continued that and moved it forward. So we've been able to maintain a pretty healthy balance almost from day one. There are a few years that got a little crazy with hours and stuff like that, but we've hit a nice spot now to where it's making a lot more sense. We're getting a lot more time with the family and the kiddos. But yeah, to answer your question directly, he does more of the sales, marketing side, and then I kind of run with it after we have the contract.
Yeah. you just kind of let it happen, whatever.
Well, you know, we do weekly meetings, and then we talk on the phone every day a lot about
Yeah.
what's going on,
Yeah.
because, you know, it's contracting, so stuff's always going on.
I make his head spin at least once a month.
once an hour, probably more like. It's interesting.
I'm the yes guy.
Yeah, Christian's the guy where if you approached him and you said
You know what that means.
no, Jeff.
Sure, we can do that today.
It's kind of ironic because Jeff and that Christian are both the guys that you know, somebody calls them like, hey, you know, can you give me an alien and a purple polka dotted broomstick with a solar panel installed?
Would you like fries with that?
And they're like, yes, and so it's kind of interesting. I think every company kind of needs that. You know, I couldn't imagine serving both of those roles. I couldn't imagine being the person that's gonna fly with the punches and the person punching.
Yeah.
You know?
The way that works though, it's kind of cool. Like if you keep saying yes, sooner or later you don't not know anything. Is that the right grammar?
Probably
Close
not.
enough.
We got it.
Yeah, we literally get asked the same question again. You're like, oh yeah, we actually have already done that. For
Yeah, we've done
11
that.
customers. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like everything's completely okay now. Like
Yeah.
like we're about to pick up another huge medical company out in Arizona, I think, that's wanting us to do all their PR work, and like actually organize every avenue of marketing they're possibly doing in one stack. And it's not our first time doing it anymore.
Yeah, and
You
the
know what
funny
I'm
the
saying?
funny
But it
thing
was the
about
first
that,
time.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, and the interesting thing is that all the different pieces that we put together, it's like, you know, we're doing these different types of services, but we've done all that stuff before.
Jim's moving to y'all. He's probably been
Yeah.
like, I have a
Yeah, it's like
our
smiling.
first deal. No, our first deal right after Christian moved up. So I was here first for a year-ish and a half. Christian then moved up and is here in Union County. I'm up in the Winston-Salem area, but we got a contract to do design work for a VA hospital in a state south of here. And it was a massive system, and we got this contract to do it and walked out of the deal, and it was like Christian looked at me and said, I guess I need to renew my CAD subscription.
Yeah. Oh my
No,
God.
I mean, from college. From junior year in college, I had not worked with AutoCAD.
And this
Oh
is
my God.
this is a multi-megawatt system.
Yeah.
And for those, and so to explain that for those that are familiar with solar, we've been doing a lot of smaller commercial residential jobs, and this is thousands and thousands of solar panels, like on top of a hospital, on top of a parking garage, in a hurricane zone,
Oh my
through
God.
through a government agency, right? So,
Oh my God.
and this man did it and had one set of Redline revisions, and it was completed and accepted. Like there was a little bit of markup on it. He went back through
Which
and
there always
changed it,
is
did
gonna
like
be.
that.
That's not a bad
No,
thing.
that's
Yeah.
like to have only one. Like I'm bragging on that. Like,
Yeah.
right. And so they had their basic revisions, redid and done. And so it was like, I mean, it was that to me is just like this. Wow. You set your mind to it, you work hard, you put it, in the work ethic, and I think, a big part of it with our roles, like you spoke about, is I talk frequently about the pride I have with our customers and being able to open up our book of business, and I give the lion's share of the credit to Christian, because that's making, me saying yes or whatever, me signing the deal with the customer and saying, sure, we're gonna deliver that for this amount, if we're not doing that, and then, we haven't had change orders for anything that we missed. If somebody says, hey, I want an alien or whatever on my panels, I forget that. Yeah, it's like, okay, we'll do it, but it's gonna cost you, but we haven't missed anything where we come back with a change order. And so I take a lot of pride in that. And then what Christian has done for making sure that these delivers and puts into place is the reason that we have the reviews that we have and the happy
Here's the
clients.
answer I'm excited about. So how many jobs like that have you done now?
A couple. I mean, that's such a big
It's
sort
a
of
big rare one, right?
Yeah, that's
But-
a big
but
rare.
the
That's
second
the
time you
white
got it,
rhino.
the second time you got it, was it as difficult? Was it as crazy? Did it stress you out?
No, I mean, since then, you're just like, okay, so what are all the hurdles? As soon as you know what the track is and what all the hurdles are, then you can, attack it. It's just like, how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
I don't care what business in. Nobody knows how to do the job the first time.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, even if they're trained, you know, it's one of those things where some knowledge is self provided. You know, Jeff, one of the things that you said, you have that quarterback mentality. You take all the blame and none of the credit. You know, you pass it on to Christian, and that's such an important feature in any partnership in any business to have, is that, you know, you take the blame and none of the credit, so that you can pass that credit on and make other people feel good and stuff. It's a very impressive quality in you, if I might say so myself. So all these jobs you guys are working, 10 years in the business. Let me ask you this kind of a bizarre question, but where do you see renewable energy as a whole going? I mean, do you think that eventually most cars are going to be electric? Do you think that most homes are going to be solar powered? Where do you see that industry going?
I think it's a fad. It's going to fade away in the next 6 to 12 months, probably most likely.
Be on the job market.
yeah. We'll be back here with our application, you know, with our resumes in hand.
Yeah.
But thank you for the compliment that you gave me previously. I appreciate that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but just because I never met a quarterback that I really liked.
Oh, okay.
But no. Yeah, I think it's going to become more and more mainstream. I believe that, you know, the price points, you know, Christian touched on the safety of it earlier, but, you know, it's come, the price point from 10 years ago when we started doing this has dropped 75 to 80%.
Wow.
For what we're installing.
Does that hurt your business though?
No, it's helped the business considerably. Yeah. So it's allowed. So I guess that there's a couple ways you could answer that question, because now, you know, when we started in North Carolina, there was a handful literally of companies to choose from if you wanted solar. Now there are a multitude of them, and so yeah, exactly. And a lot of those are out of state. You know, a lot of those are people coming into this market because it's a booming market, because they've expanded throughout. But it's not something that I think our reputation, and our relationships in the North Carolina area have kind of protected us from a lot of that.
I mean, you're local, protect our own.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to continue to grow. I think it's going to continue to be, you know, more and more a part of our daily lives as you know, battery technology comes along with more and more electric vehicles. That's going to be that'll be integrated, you know, along with the solar electric systems that we're installing. We already do systems with batteries, but as the cost of electricity goes up and batteries costs come down, it'll be much like the same pattern, you know, basic economics of what we've seen with solar, is supply and demand, and those price points coming down, and more and more integration.
So tell us a little bit about some innovations that nobody knows about yet. Things that are being worked on that y'all are like nipping at the bits to come out. Like,
aliens.
Is there anything like that?
Don't tell them about that one thing.
We're holding that on.
The reason I ask is because when I was in the drone field, there was always these things that were being worked on that we couldn't quite have yet. And like I figured there's probably stuff like that in your industry as well. Maybe not though.
Yeah, I mean, we stay on top of it. Every year there's Solar Power International, where all the players sort of get together in one spot and go over what's happening. You know, batteries and electric cars and solar all coming together inside of a smart home or smart building is really where everything is moving forward.
Oh, that's cool.
You
That's
can
neat.
take out your phone, see how much solar power you're making, see how much power your building is using, and what appliances in your building are using that power.
So it'd be like a solar garage where like my car's parked in there are being charged, my tools that need to be solar powered are being charged.
Everything, your water heater, your air conditioner, everything
All
that
from
you
one
have.
garage.
Yeah. So, well, as the whole house. You know, in Europe, they actually have smart breaker panels now. So every single load that you have is on the network.
Wow.
You can see what's happening with it, you know, just from your smart device.
In Germany, there's a huge network of batteries that have been made by this particular manufacturer, that if you have that in place and you have it programmed to sell, then it's basically called distributed generation, to where it's being produced by solar and stored in these batteries, and the utility has it set up on direct deposit to where they can draw from your battery bank and put it into their grid network, you know, into your neighborhood, you know, and they're compensating you for that energy. And so it's just like small power plants all throughout, and I'm talking tens of thousands on their grid. They have a really unique website, and I think you'll see that more and more here. You're already seeing more of that on the West Coast or in the Northeast, where you have quite a difference in your way that your rate schedules. So you have what's called time of use rates, where you pay, in LA, you're paying 18 cents, between the hours of 8 and 5, everybody comes home from work and you're paying twice that between 5 and midnight. And so being able to harness that power, reutilize that, and utilize that back inside the home and saving that money is where it makes a lot of sense. And that'll be with the smart home technology and the program, as Christian was referring to, that's happening now, and that will just become more and more integrated.
Yeah. Here's kind of a bizarre, maybe off the wall question for you guys, but given that you're in the energy sector, I'm enthusiastic to know your response here. But not to be political either, but we know the effects of pollution, global warming, etc., and whatnot. As more renewable energy sources, whether it's electric powered vehicles or solar powered homes, becomes more available to folks, do you think that our carbon footprint will decrease, or do you see any differences in that in the future?
I think globally it'll eventually stabilize, because you're going to have developing nations need a bunch of cheap energy really fast.
Yeah, so they'll use the fossil fuels.
Yeah, as they grow. So, as a developed nation that has the money and the ability, we sort of have the responsibility to cut our carbon emissions down to help shift that development for other countries.
Yeah.
What I think, and it's different all over the world, but we've been able to go down to Haiti and look at some solar projects and be involved with solar projects in island nations. Christian lived in Jamaica for a few years as a Peace Corps volunteer, and so what a lot of people don't understand is how great we have it. I mean, when your nation is buying oil off a tanker and burning that to sell at 10 times the cost of what we pay for energy here,
right?
And it's sporadic.
Yeah.
And it's dirty, and it's super expensive and unreliable.
Yeah.
There are a lot of changes to grid infrastructure. I think that'll be happening in those developing nations, and a lot of people as they have, a lot of nations as they have in many regards, I think will be looking to us as kind of following the lead, following the example. And I think there's a lot of, no matter what side of the fence you're on politically or your beliefs of global warming, I think that there's a lot that can be said for distributed generation and having a stable grid.
Yeah.
And there's I think some unique ways to do that with renewable energy.
Yeah. That's so fascinating. I think I was reading this. Please correct me if you know the answer or if I'm mistaken, but I believe Puerto Rico has switched over to completely renewable energy or something, between wind generated and solar generated, something like that. But I'm excited and enthused to know like where all this stuff ends up going, and you guys are right on it.
We're nowhere near it, but I mean, it'd be nice to get there.
Yeah.
So we're really low in the single digits as far as the percentage of that. I know Costa Rica is close to 100% between their hydro and their wind.
Yeah.
When I look up and see like 40 of the glass windows on B of A covered with solar panels, I'll be like,
yeah,
there we go.
So that'll be something in our lifetime that we'll see more and more of, is the building integrated, where those glass windows are solar.
Yeah.
And they already have some of that out. I think as those, think about the 10 years ago, the standard solar panel and the price points that we had then. So that same thing will be happening with those windows.
Might be crazy, but I thought I saw some in New York when I was there.
Yeah, they're out and available, and it'll become more and more integrated.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, just sitting here talking to you guys as we're up in the beautiful uptown Charlotte, but you see all these buildings and whatnot, and you just wonder if they'll end up getting some type of renewable energy integrated within their grid. Well, guys, we're coming close to an end here. I always like to ask a goofy question towards the end of the show, so here's a great one for you. So let's say you guys are hiring a new employee, and you're obviously looking to fulfill a role, somebody that fits in with your corporate culture and whatnot.
What is your hazing ritual?
What is your hazing ritual? Yeah. What does Jeff do? No, I'm just kidding. So, what would you guys prefer, a funny employee or a qualified employee? Somebody that has all the certifications, or somebody that seems like you could really get along with on the regular?
I think it depends on the position that we're using them for.
Yeah.
I need them to know what they're doing.
Sure.
Pretty good if they're going to be on a roof and in positions that could be dangerous or fatal.
Reasonable.
So I would feel comfortable if they were goofy on the sales side.
I mean, just to have funny up there, I would have to go with qualified. But if somebody is what I tell we talk about if you can do what you say you're going to do, you've eliminated 90% of the competition.
Right.
And so I think somebody that's reliable, definitely have to have that dynamic to get along with them when you're working in the trenches day in and day out.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I would rather have, and from a sales standpoint, I'd rather have somebody who doesn't have solar sales experience.
Interesting.
Just so we could actually, it would be great if they knew that, but we have a very different approach, and there's a lot of times people get chills or get the ew when they hear about sales, a salesperson.
Yeah.
And so we have a very consultative approach, and I'm not a hard closer at all, because that repulses me, and I'm gonna say typically no. If somebody's trying to hard close me and do that, I'm like, look, no.
Shove you
And
through,
so
force your hand.
they've got to be funny is important. They can't be funnier than I am, or I'll fire them. But you got to have that dynamic where you get along.
Personability.
And I think that's where it goes to meeting somebody halfway, and learning to communicate, learning to work together. So,
Yeah.
But I'll flip flop and I'll say funny. There we go.
Funny, there we go. We got both hands of the coin. Jeff Redwine and Christian Lofton, our guests today. Guys, let's give you a shout out. Let's say somebody needs to get a new solar roof installed. How do they get a hold of you?
We're at REDGroupNC.com. Feel free to reach. It's got a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. Renewable Energy Design Group. You can Google us, or REDGroupNC.com. Got a lot of informative videos. A lot of got a great brewery here, Birdsong, that has solar on it.
Cool.
Some neat videos to check out.
Did you guys do that? You guys did Birdsong?
Correct.
Oh, that's cool, man. I didn't even know that. I've been there plenty of times. I didn't even know that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thanks, guys.
That was good. That was fun, man. I enjoyed that.